All right,
Welcome back.
And in this life, we say that there are a few inevitable things. One is that change is constant. Another one is taxes. You by all means have to pay. You don't have a choice. Let me add a third one. You will grow old.
Oh, yeah.
If you are fortunate. You will grow old. It's one of the inevitable things in life. You can't avoid it. Well, we're going to have a conversation about aging.
We are, but before that, you know, somebody is a year older.
Okay, okay.
You have a message
It's
here.
happening.
Please kindly wish Benedicta Akesi Brimpong, wife of Minister Akesi Brimpong, a happy birthday from a loved one. So happy birthday to Mrs. Akesi Brimpong. Thank you for sharing your husband with us, you know, and also just for being an all-around amazing person. Happy birthday to you. All right. Yes, on that note, growing old.
Yes. Today, we're talking about the United Nations International Day of Older Persons. And, of course, it's October 1st. That marks the day, the International Day for the Aged. And we've been joined today by Dr. Salamatu Atta Nantogma, who is a specialist family physician, geriatrics special interest area, Deputy Director of Clinical Care in Greater Accra. Now, not only her, but also our very own, I want to use some names, but it's okay.
No, go ahead. I'm giving you permission.
No, this is roadside, so it's okay. Dr. Kelvin is also here as well. You're both welcome.
Thank you very much.
And to you especially. This is the first time of having you here.
We're pleased to have you. You look lovely.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, and he can also welcome you.
Yes, he can.
Yeah.
So we're talking about International Day of the Aged, you know, and unfortunately, it's not something we talk about enough, if at all. You know, so maybe I'll start with Dr. Kelvin. I'll let Dr. Salamatu, I'll ease her in, let her catch her breath.
Understood.
But Dr. Kelvin, let's just talk about, so we have geriatrics, right? It's a branch of health that focuses on the healthcare of, the aged.
Yes.
Why is it even important to have a field of
area.
medicine like that? I don't think we understand that. To us, human beings are human beings. And maybe there are men and women and then children. But why is that particularly important?
Well, I mean, as David said, I mean, aging, you can't avoid it. We will all get there. Hopefully, we will all get there. Unfortunately, one of the places, one of the areas also that we least prepare for, even though we know that we'll get there, most of us never prepare for it. Yeah. You see, so that's why, for instance, in Ghana, it's not a well-known area and a well-known field of study, even though it's actually been there for a while. You see, so we have pediatrics for children, we have obs and gynae for women and pregnancy-related things. We have urology, who are not necessarily for men, but they double as men doctors as well. So there definitely has to be somebody to also study what happens to people who, as they grow older, because older people, just like pediatrics, older people also have peculiar things that relate to them. Even in terms of medication dosage, what medication is even good for them as they grow older, because, they are growing older because their cells are getting weaker. Their cells are dying. So should you give them the same medication that you'd give David or Apio? Oh, no, but you, I don't know. We'll talk about that later.
Grandpa,
it's like, so...
Dr. Salamatu, today you're going to be there. You're going to be the unbiased referee of this match, because there are some things going on here that, anyway, you will talk about that later.
Okay, so let me ask, and I'll come to you, Dr. Salamatu. At what age or stage of life should you start thinking about seeing a specialist for the aged?
I mean, should David be switching doctors at this point?
No, you caught it.
So I think that really for everybody, thinking about your health when you are aged should start as early as possible, because we all start aging at 35.
Okay.
So by the time you start thinking
that includes Dr. Kelvin.
By the time you start thinking that,
thank you very much, Dr.
Salamatu. You have started declining at the age of 35. So your lifestyle and everything should be actually aimed towards making you healthy at by the time you are older. Okay. However, though the people that geriatrics may cater for, focus on, will be people above the ages of 60. Okay. So when you're above 60, which of course in our part of the world, that's the age of retirement as well, you know that you have to be seeing a geriatrician. However, it is important that you start screening to know what your challenges could be much earlier. So even by the age of 50, you are hitting 55, it's important to know what your issues will be like as you get to that age, but you should start seeing a geriatrician when you are 60.
Did you hear 35 earlier?
Yeah,
No,
but
he's
I'm
more than
not,
35.
but I'm not
You are now
35
pointing
yet.
at me, and I'm
But
not
I'm not
50 yet.
30,
I'm not 55 yet. I'm not 55 yet. What are you talking about?
No, but just as
Yes.
I have one, okay, so let's say about 6 months to 35, you have less than a year to 50.
Yeah, but she said 55.
No, but she said from 50 and then 55. 50 was the lower. He preferred to be no, but that's interesting. So, Doc, I'll stay with you, Dr. Salamatu. So, we start aging from 35. What does that mean? You know, in the laywoman's terms, what does it mean? What are some of the things that are happening to our bodies that we may not even be seeing, but that are indicative of aging from 35?
Okay, so they will say that you say someone is aging, that process that will convert someone from a younger adult to an older adult is the process of aging. And there's decline in your functionality. And when we say decline in your functionality, what your muscles can do, what your cells can do, the reality is that there's no one process that causes aging. So sometimes it's difficult to say it's because this happened, that's why you are aging. But your organs are getting older, sometimes depending on even how you are using your organs, how you are using them. Your bones are getting less, the density is reducing as you are aging. Your eyesight is getting bad and all that. So everything, the cells are undergoing wear and tear, just like you have a vehicle or any machine. As the years go by, it undergoes wear and tear, and then you start getting into that process of decline that your function is getting
I have seen
lower.
certain vehicles, talking about car maintenance, I've seen certain vehicles with registration numbers ending in B, C, D, and so on. But honestly, the shock to me is how well maintained you have been. Now, are there things you can do as a human being to make sure that by the time you're, say, 70, you're functioning like a 50-year-old?
Yes, so there are several things we can do to make sure that our quality of life and the decline is slower than you will have as an average person. And because different people have risk factors, they belong to different families, they have different issues, they have different circumstances in life, whether the stresses that you have been through in your life, whether you've even had any form of a very serious medical condition that may cause a faster decline. There are some standards we always look at that is the lifestyle changes. And one of the ones I prefer to refer to is the one that says you shouldn't smoke throughout your lifetime, or at any point in time when you realize it is important to stop, and then your body starts regenerating. And being able to eat the right thing. With 5 portions of fruits and vegetables each day is important to keep you going. It's also
5
important portions of fruits and vegetables
every day.
Every day. And then it's also important to ensure that you are meditating. It's amazing what meditation does to you.
So the mental health side.
Mental health, being able to get your body back to realize, to let me say 0.0, to start all over again. So they'll say 10 minutes of meditation each day. You have to be able to keep your weight to the right weight, your BMI as we call it. So that's your weight over your height squared. So it should be 30 and below throughout your lifetime. And of course, sometimes you go overboard and you work towards coming back, then you go down. But you should always focus on actually ensuring that you are able to end activity. You cannot do without exercise. At least a total of 150 minutes of exercise each week. It's important to keep you going. So it's lifestyle. It's more lifestyle than medication, than surgery, than it is lifestyle, how you maintain the body.
When you say 30 and below throughout your life, I know that a lot of literature says you are overweight when you cross, I think, 24.5 or 25 thereabouts. So that little extra between the 25 and 30, how much impact, or it doesn't really matter?
It's not because it doesn't matter, but you realize that different people go through different phases of life.
Okay.
So you want to have a target that you are always at and working towards getting towards a perfect target. So that is why it is placed at 30, because different people, and especially women, go through different cycles in life, hormones, childbirth, and all that. So it all gives allowance for all that.
And let me just add that, I mean, whilst you are younger, so under 35 in this discussion, it's actually easier to get your weight under control. You know, there's a certain point, especially for women, and even for men, when you cross a certain point, it's so difficult to get back into shape. You know, because number one, you don't have the habits. You know, and getting into a habit of healthy living, it's not easy. We talk about it all the time, but it's a very difficult thing. You have to be conscious about it, and so you literally need to start now before you cross that mark when it becomes difficult. So, but at least by that time, you're already in that habit. You're already in the 5 portions of fruits, and even to remember to have 5 portions, it's a challenge.
It's a challenge.
So developing the habit is critical part of living a healthy lifestyle. You know, because even she mentioned medication and surgery, the lifestyle even plays a role in recovery from surgery. So you might even have a surgery, and because your lifestyle has been terrible, you are going to have complications from the surgery. So it cannot be overemphasized.
Can we talk about food and as a lifestyle, indicator, where in a Ghanaian context, men are encouraged to eat very large portions.
So that can reach the legs.
Yeah. No, I mean, like seriously, you hear it all the time. It's like, I don't want your bema. Add some more to his plate. Add some more to his plate. What are we doing to ourselves? How do we change the narrative so that? Because I met someone, 2012, and he is tall and very heavy set, very built, and he said to me that his portion of rice every day is maximum a palmful. Cooked rice, a palmful. And he added that someone of his size does not need more than that. Okay, which for me was revolutionary thinking. Because prior to that,
the bigger you are, the
I'm like, you should eat more, to supply.
Eat from a bucket.
You see the thing. But then he was like, no. It's, it's wrong thinking. Talk to us about our culture, the habits we've picked up and developed as a culture, eating a lot of food because when you have money, like somebody said the other day, talk to us about that and its impact on aging.
Yes, so I think that our culture of eating to a large extent has always been wrong. One, we have a lot of carbs in our diets, and actually the quantities we are asked to eat are actually not the quantities your body needs. And it even starts from childhood. Look at how much mothers beat children, literally beat it to eat. And then sometimes you see the portion and the child says, I'm full. And we cannot even believe it when the child says, I'm full. And actually the child being able to say, I'm full, is the body's natural process of letting the body learn how much is enough. So you have already destroyed the ability for the body to say that very early in life. So the person's already eating portions that are not their portions.
Wow.
Then you grow up, and with the issue of you are a male, eat more, which parts of meat is for which gender, and all that all comes into play. And the truth is that you build up medical issues that even get worse as you grow older. And like Kelvin said, your lifestyle has been bad since you were young. You don't start changing your lifestyle because you are 50. In fact, it's even more difficult. Even though it's never too late to start thinking about changing your lifestyle. So you have already developed probably diabetes, you have high cholesterol, you have all sorts of diseases related to obesity and all that before you have gotten to that age. By the time you are 55, your weight is so much, you're already developing joint pains from arthritis and everything. And it will just get worse as you grow older. So it's because we haven't done I don't know how this whole thing about eating plenty shows that.
Yeah.
But however, it's a cultural
Yeah.
thing, and it has gradually gotten, and we have to
Yeah.
learn to change it. I think the food sciences
Yeah.
are beginning to teach us how we can measure portions in our African dishes.
Right.
I think it's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
When the white man says, "Oh, this is this grams," or
Yeah.
this is this ounce, when you look at the fufu or the kimchi, you
What does that mean? What does
how
that
to
mean?
relate it, you know?
And when you say one portion of fufu, what is a
what
portion
one
of fufu?
portion of
Is
fufu?
it 2 balls or
Is it
5?
2 balls? Yes, is it a portion that is enough
Or
for
the husband and wife.
I know, right?
you know, yeah. So all those things come into play. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Calvin, I mean, I'm particularly, I mean, he has asked a lot of questions because
You know, we understand.
we do. But when it comes to women, you know, in particular, and I'm harping on this because a lot of women may have had children
Yeah.
by the time they have grown older. You know, the time at which, or in your life, or the point at which in your life you have children, does that affect how you also age, and you know, vice versa? I'm just trying to look at all the permutations here.
This is a difficult question to answer. You see, there might be a correlation between the timing of pregnancy and the aging process. Because, I mean, like we already said, everything that happens to you beyond a certain point, the body struggles to recover. You know, so if you are younger, your body is more forgiving. You know, imagine, a baby has a cut on their face.
Yeah.
By the time they are in their teens, you can barely find that cut. Oh, typical example, chicken pox.
Yeah.
I had chicken pox in class
too.
2. I can barely find any scars. I met somebody who had chicken pox just 2 days ago, and you know, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, spots all over. You know, so when you are pregnant at a certain point, the body recovery is a challenge. But the reason why I'm saying it's a difficult question to answer is that there's also the issue of family history. You know, so how your mother may have responded to pregnancy, it's quite telling how you are going to respond to it. You know, so some people have gone through pregnancy and you see them, and if they don't tell you, you can't even you won't even know. So we say their genes are strong. You know, so genetics or its well, I'm using too many terms. You know, so there's a huge interplay between the genes and the environment. You know, so that's what makes it a bit difficult to answer. But what we do know is that if you have if you are pregnant, your first pregnancy especially, much later in life, the risk of complications are higher, both for the mother and for the baby as well. You know, because for females, once you are born, your eggs are actually already there. It's not like the men who are constantly producing sperms. You know, so the risk of damage to those eggs or those tissue is higher. So risk of complication is very, very, very high. So we usually call these babies precious babies, and there's no obstetrician who will not take every precaution to make sure that precious baby is healthy. You know, so there are a special class of pregnant women
That's
that
where
are.
the bed rest comes in.
I'm telling you, if you mess with a precious baby, the obstetrician will have a problem with you. So don't go there.
Interesting. Okay, so back to you, Dr. Salmati. So let's talk about, you know, the aged now. When you see a specialist as a man or a woman who is older, so above 60, what are some of the things that the specialist is always going to look out for? What are some of the things they're always expecting someone within that age bracket to do or not to do?
So usually when you see a geriatrician sees someone who is older people can have any disease a younger person can have. So you want to even see whether they have any illness that you can manage quickly. But more importantly, you want to find out things that could decrease their quality of life as they go ahead. So it's even everybody can be hypertensive, anybody can be diabetic, anybody can have a cancer. But when you are aged, the question is, what can make you have a better quality of life and what can make you bedridden? So we want to be able to assess for your mobility, what will happen as you are going ahead, your ability to be able to move from one place to the other, your stability, your ability to prevent yourself from getting falls and getting accidents, which can actually change the course of your aging. Do you have risk factors and issues, or even do you have early signs of incontinence? Incontinence meaning that not being aware of losing urine and stool, which happens especially with females. There is that issue of incontinence of urine, sometimes with injuries that come with childbirth once again. And all that, so they lose the muscle strength, I mean, in the pelvic floor, and they may begin to have, sometimes they don't even know that the signs they are having, like when I cough or I laugh hard, I lose urine. They don't even know that it's the early signs and stuff like that. Or a lot of, I mean, us are afraid of being forgetful. They call it dementia, generally being called dementia. So we want to know whether you have started having signs of dementia and all that, so that we can try to work on these areas to ensure that your quality of life is the best as it is as you age.
Okay, so there's an event actually happening, Age Care. The event will be taking place on the 30th of September.
Yes,
talk to us a little bit about that.
So to mark the International Day of the Older Persons, which is the 1st October, we are organizing a public lecture at the British Council Auditorium to mark the day. And the theme for this year is the resilience and contribution of older women in navigating the challenges of our time. So we have some experienced women who are going to talk on various topics. We have Reverend Dr. Joyce Ayi, we have Madame Esther Koba, we have Bishop Dochi, and we have Professor Hesse, who will be speaking on different issues. So it's more like looking at it, these are older women who have gone through the mill, and more like a mentorship, trying to talk to us about how did we do it, and how are we doing it, and how can you do it. So that's what the public lecture is on.
It's free to attend?
It's free to attend. It's at 12 noon.
At the British Council.
British Council.
On the 30th.
On the 30th.
So
that's
on
Friday. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Any final words?
Oh, well, yes. You could also join us as well. On the 1st itself, we are having a soup kitchen with some elderly people too as well at the Tabitha Aged Home. The Santa Morgan's 99 group has joined us already and all that to be able to do that. And I think that aging well is a lifestyle and you need to start early. Not when you start hearing the cracks, but much earlier. Yes.
Fantastic.
Aging well is a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. Yeah.
Dr. Kelvin, any final words?
Well, I mean, as David said, we are all going to age, hopefully. So the earlier we start preparing for it, the better our aging experience is going to be. We don't want to be the grandparent who is always complaining of waist pain and me drunk.
All right. Well, big thank you to you, Dr. Kelvin. Also to you, Dr. Salamatu.
Thank you for
very much for coming. It's been a fun conversation.
We hope you'll come again.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Anytime.
All right. Looks like we found a dynamic duo of doctors on the set. And Breakfast Daily is going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.